Namaste and Happy Diwali. Thank you so much for joining us for Diwali at the Chapel 2021. My name is Sajuan Naikar, and I'm a senior here at Princeton. And I serve as one of the co-presidents for the Princeton Hindu Satsangam, the Hindu student program here at Princeton. We'd like to extend a very warm Diwali welcome to all of you here. Thank you for sharing this beautiful and special occasion with us. And we hope you can stay to enjoy the entire event, which will feature traditional singing, dancing, spiritual reflection, and worship. I'd now like to invite Vineet Chandar to the podium. Vineet is an assistant dean and leads the Hindu Life program here at Princeton, and is also an advisor to the Princeton Hindu Satsangam. As students, we've seen and appreciated firsthand how much this event means to him and how much work he puts into it to make it possible.
Thank you, Sajivan. On behalf of the university's Office of Religious Life and its Hindu Life program, it is my honor and my delight to welcome you all here for our celebration at the chapel, and also, might I add, to welcome us all back into this space to celebrate together in person. Let's give one another a big round of applause to send that encouragement to one another. We're so grateful and fortunate to be here together. But we do want to be cognizant of the ongoing protocols, and so we ask that you please wear your masks at all times when indoors. There are very few exceptions to this. You'll be seeing some of the presenters, like myself and our hosts for the evening, when alone at a microphone, lowering their masks to speak and then returning their masks. You'll see other presenters closer together, keeping their masks on. We ask each and every one of you, and we appreciate so much your patience and your tolerance. We ask each and every one of you to help keep one another safe and healthy by keeping these masks on and observing the other protocols. At this time, I'd like to invite Vice President for Campus Life, Rochelle Calhoun, Vice Provost for Institutional Equity and Diversity, Michelle Minter, and Dean of Admissions, Karen Richardson, to come forward and officially inaugurate our celebration by lighting the candles of our ceremonial lamp. I would also request at this time Sri Ram and Jairam Hatwar to chant a prayer of invocation as we light the candles. Sri Ram and Jairam will recite the auspicious Shri Shuktam. Shri Shuktam is a Sanskrit Shukta, or hymn, from the Rig Veda, the oldest existing religious text. It is dedicated to Shri, also known as Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity, abundance, and good fortune. The Sukta describes Shri as royal, lustrous as gold, radiant as the fire, moon, and the sun. Diwali, the festival of lights, celebrates abundance and good fortune, so Shri is traditionally worshipped on this day.
हिरण्यवर्णां हरिणीं सुवर्णरजतस्रजां छन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो महावः तां महावः जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं विन्देयं गामश्वं पुरुषाणहम् अश्वपूर्वां रथमध्यां हस्तिनादप्रबोधिनीं श्रियं देवीमुपह्वये श्रीर्मा देवी जुषताम् कांसोऽस्मितां हिरण्यप्राकाराम् आर्द्रां ज्वलन्तीं तृप्तां तर्पयन्तीम् पद्मे स्थितां पद्मवर्णां तामिहोपह्वये श्रियम् चन्द्रां प्रभासां यशसा ज्वलन्तीं श्रियं लोके देवजुष्टामुदाराम् तां पद्मिनीमीं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये अलक्ष्मीर्मे नश्यतां त्वां वृणे आदित्यवर्णे तपसोऽधिजातो वनस्पतिस्तव वृक्षोऽथ बिल्वः तस्य फलानि तपसानुदन्तु मायान्तरायाश्च बाह्या अलक्ष्मीः उपैतु मां देवसखः कीर्तिश्च मणिना सह प्रादुर्भूतोऽस्मि राष्ट्रेऽस्मिन् कीर्तिमृद्धिं ददातु मे क्षुत्पिपासामलां ज्येष्ठामलक्ष्मीर्नाशयाम्यहम् अभूतिमसमृद्धिं च सर्वान् निर्नुद मे गृहात् गन्धद्वारां दुरादर्शां नित्यपुष्टां करीषिणीम् ईश्वरीगुं सर्वभूतानां तामिहोपह्वये श्रियम् मनसः काममाकूतिं वाचः सत्यमशीमहि पशूनां रूपमन्नस्य मयि श्रीशयतां यशः कर्दमेन प्रजा भूता मयि सम्भव कर्दम श्रियं वासय मे कुले मातरं पद्ममालिनीम् आपसृजन्तु स्निग्धानि चिक्लीतवस मे गृहे निच देवीं मातरं श्रियं वासय मे कुले आर्द्रां पुष्करिणीं पुष्टिं पिङ्गलां पद्ममालिनीं चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो म आवह आर्द्रां यः करिणीं यष्टिं सुवर्णां हेममालिनीं सूर्यां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो म आवह तां म आवह जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीम् यस्यां हिरण्यं प्रभूतं गावो दास्योऽश्वान् विन्देयं पुरुषानहम् महादेव्यै च विद्महे विष्णुपत्न्यै च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात्
Namaste. My name is Srija Pacha, and I'm also a co-president of PHS. Throughout the evening, we'll hear some reflections from students about what Diwali means to them, and Vineet will be back later to share some thoughts as well. Now we'd like to invite Sriram Srinivasan, a senior, to get us started by sharing a Diwali reflection with us.
Hi everyone. Diwali is a time of year that helps me understand the value of family, love, and coming together. I remember all the times when we would start the day bright and early with the puja at home, go shopping for new clothes, drive to places hours away to buy as many fireworks as we could get our hands on, and of course think about all the food, snacks, and sweets we'd have to make for our annual Diwali gatherings. I remember going to the temple and seeing everyone lighting diyas, people singing hymns, the appreciation for our culture, and the light that Diwali brought to everyone's lives. Then we'd come back home to spend time with family and friends, enjoy the mountains of food we'd made, and light firecrackers, all while listening to the stories our parents and grandparents would tell us about their Diwali celebrations back home in India. And in traditional Indian fashion, no one would want the night to end, and we'd continue our conversations right up to the front door. Soon the celebration would come to an end, but we'd only be looking forward to when we could meet again next year. I've been fortunate enough to go to school very close to home, but even so, I've found that same sense of community and belonging at Princeton over my time here. Even through the pandemic, PHS has always been a group that's kept me grounded and reminds me of what I love about this school. And I'm so grateful that we're all back and more excited than ever to celebrate our time together. It's when we celebrate festivals like Diwali together at this event on campus, along with the rest of the Princeton community, I realize how much I've come to value the family I've found here. On this Diwali, more than any other, I'm optimistic about the future, despite everything that's happened over the past year. It's moments like these that we can find comfort in, that tell us that we have each other to lean on and to celebrate these moments with. Thank you so much, and happy Diwali.
Diwali at the chapel is an opportunity to express worship and gratitude through the arts. While we feature songs and dances, these aren't merely performances. They're also offerings of devotion. To begin this evening's performances on a most auspicious and joyous note, we're pleased to invite Shrishta Tripathi, class of 2025, to present an offering in the classical dance form known as Bharatanatyam. Shrishta's dance, entitled Today Mangalam, is an invocatory piece that calls on the gods and goddesses to join in our audience. It voices praise of Goddess Lakshmi, Durga, and Lord Vishnu. Let's welcome Shrishta up here.
जय जानकी रमण जय विभीषण शरण जय सरोरुग चरण जगदीन करुण जय 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 जानकी रमण जय विभीषण शरण जय सरोरुग चरण जगदीन करुण जय 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 जानकी रमण చరణ జయ సరోరుగ చరణ జగదీన కరుణ జయ 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 జానకి రమణ జయ విభీషణ చరణ జయ సరోరుగ చరణ జగదీన కరుణ జయ 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 జానకి రమణ జయ విభీషణ చరణ జయ సరోరుగ చరణ జగదీన కరుణ జయ జయ దుర్గుట్టక దుర్గుట్టక తక్క 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 ధళ్ళం కుతదింగిన తాకు దండం తదిత తతకు దండం తదిదే తాకు దండం తది తతకు దండం తది తాకు దండం తతకు దండం దండం పిండం కడదగదగదం 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 చరణు చరణు సుభేంద్ర సన్నుత చరణు శేషతి వల్లభ చరణు చరణు సురేంద్ర సన్నుత చరణు శేషతి వల్లభ చరణు రాక్షస గర్వ సంహర చరణు వెంకట నాయక స్వామి శ్రీ రఘునాయక విజయ వెంకట నాయక శరణు 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 సురేంద్ర సన్నుత శరణు శేషతి వల్లభ శరణు రాక్షస గర్వ సంహర శరణు వెంకట నాయక స్వామి శ్రీ రఘునాయక విజయ వెంకట నాయక శరణు 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 సురేంద్ర సన్నుత శరణు శేషతి వల్లభ శరణు రాక్షస గర్వ సంహర శరణు వెంకట నాయక స్వామి శ్రీ రఘునాయక విజయ వెంకట నాయక శరణు శరణు దుర్గుట్టక తక్క దుర్గుట్టక 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 తక్క దుర్గుట్టక 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 తక్క దుర్గుట్టక దుర్గుట్టక దళం కుతక తక్క తదిగినతం సజ్జం తగుత దిగిట తగ తగజం తగుత దిగిట తగ తక తదిగినతం తగ తదిగినతం తగ తదిగినతం మురగర నగదర ముకుంద మాధవ గరుడగమన పంకజనాభ మురగర నగదర ముకుంద మాధవ గరుడగమన పంకజనాభ పరమ పురుష భవ భంజన కేశవ నరమృగ శరీర నమో నమో నారాయణ తే నమో నమో జయ నారద సన్ముత నమో నమో మురగర నగదర ముకుంద మాధవ గరుడగమన పంకజనాభ పరమ పురుష భవ భంజన కేశవ తరమృగ శరీర నమో నమో నారాయణ తే నమో నమో జయ నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో నారాయణ తే నమో నమో జయ నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో మురగర నగదర ముకుంద మాధవ గరుడగమన గజనాభ పరమ పురుష భవ భంజన కేశవ కరభృజ శరీర నమో నమో నారాయణ తే నమో నమో జయ నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో నారాయణ తే నమో నమో నారద సన్నుత నమో నమో ధరిగిట తగద కృతగృదం తగది ధరిగిట తగదై కృతగృదం ధరిగిట తగద కృతగృదం ధరిగిట తగదై కృతగృదం ధరిగిట తగద కృతగృదం దేవేశ గణారాధిత దివ్యాంబుజ పాద శ్రీ వెంకట గిరినాయక విశేషేచ్చరిక దేవేశ గణారాధిత దివ్యాంబుజ పాద श्रीशेषरिका देवे जगणाराधित दिव्याम्बुजपाद श्रीवेङ्कट गिरिनायक श्रीशेषरिका देवे जगणाराधित दिव्याम्बुजपाद श्री वेंकटगिरिनायक श्रीशेषरिका गधळं कुतकत दिङ्गिण तरिगु धनगु जं तक्किणगु जं तद्धणगु जं तरिगु धनकु धनकु किणकु जनकु कुन्तरि कृतगदगुडुं माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् जय माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् मधुमुर हरते जय मङ्गलम् गोपाल माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् जय माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् मधुमुर हरते जय मङ्गलम् गोपाल माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् जय माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् मधुमुर हरते जय मङ्गलम् गोपाल माधव भवतु ते मङ्गलम् हरिगु धनकु धनद धनकु किणद किणकु जोणुद जोणुकु तग तदिगु धनकु किणकु जोणुकु जनकु कुन्तरि कृतगदगदुं धनकु किणकु जनकु कुन्तरि कृतगदगदुं धनकु किणकु जनकु कुन्तरि कृतगदगदुं माधव भवतु ते जय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलम् मङ्गलम्
Thank you, Srishta, for that beautiful performance. To help us reflect on the deeper significance of Diwali and how it is experienced in our own lives, next we invite Kesuvan Sriviliputtur, a third-year student, to share a Diwali reflection with us.
Nearly 2 years ago, our lives were all upturned. As close friends and relatives became boxes on a screen, our sense of community drastically shifted. This time period was especially important to me as it marked the first time I lived away from home in a place that was not a dorm. During the fall 2020 semester, I lived in a house with 5 non-Desi roommates who had very little knowledge of Hinduism. As this was the first time I was truly isolated from our culture, I could have easily forgotten Diwali and all the celebrations that came with it. Instead, I decided to share this culture with my roommates over a home-cooked Diwali dinner. This was not the first time I had shared Diwali with my non-Desi friends. Indeed, every year prior, I would take at least one friend with me to some Diwali celebration. Yet somehow, as I explained the Ramayana and Diwali to my roommates, this dinner felt different to me. Perhaps it was the contrast of the loud, boisterous Mela with the small, quiet dinner. In some ways, I felt more in touch with my culture through this small event than I had ever before. One of my roommates even pledged to read the Ramayana with me. For the majority of the past 2 years, it felt like we were stuck in a period where nothing was happening. Now that we are back in person, it feels as if we are stuck in a different way, in an endless whirlwind of events. My father once told me that both doing too much and doing too little results in the same thing. Our sense of community is lost. This doesn't make intuitive sense. How could we lose our sense of community if we're always active? When I asked this, he said that one of the most important parts of community is the ability to reflect as we come together. As we reflect, we become stronger in our beliefs and become unafraid to be challenged in them. It brings me immense joy to see everyone here together in the Princeton Chapel tonight. While our community and others have been fractured over the past 2 years, I have hope that we will all be able to come together. Just as the lights of Deepavali led our Lord Rama back to Ayodhya, let those same lights guide us back to each other and our collective sense of community. Jai Shri Ram and Happy Diwali.
Thank you, Kesavan. We would now like to call on Shruti Venkat, class of 23, to sing the devotional song, Ghar More Paradesiya. This song, featured in the popular film Kalank, evokes the love of the goddess Sita for her beloved Rama, and the longing of the devotee for the embrace of the divine. Shruti is accompanied by Sharva Dave on tabla. Please give Shruti and Sharva a warm welcome.
रघुकुल रीत सदा चली आए, प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाए। रघुवर तेरी राह निहारे, रघुवर तेरी राह निहारे, परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया तदियन तन धीर धूम तदियन तन धीर धीम तदियन तन धीर धीम तधीरे न धीम धीम ददानी मैंने सुध बुध चैन गवा के मैंने सुध बुध चैन गवा के राम रतन पा लिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया घर मोरे परदेसिया दीम तदन दिरिना दीम तदन दिरिना दनि समा सगमत नीद मग प गम प सा सा गम प नी नी गम प नि द प म ग रि ग म द प रि म प द म प नि नि द प म प ग म रि स नि स रि रि म म प प द द म प नि 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 रि स नि द नि द प म प द नि द प म प नि स रि रि ग ना तो मैया की लोरी ना ही फागुन की होरी मोहे कुछ दूसरा ना भाए रे जब से नैन आए जाके एक तनुर दर से आगे तब से फिर हाँ मोहे सताए रे हाँ ना तो मैया की लोरी ना ही फागुन की होरी मोहे कुछ दूसरा ना भाए रे जब से नैन आए जाके एक तनुर दर से लागे तब से फिर हाँ मोहे सताए रे दुविधा मेरी सब जग जाने दुविधा मेरी सब जग जाने जाने ना निर्मोहिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया गई बन घट भन भरन भरन पनिया दीवानी गई बन घट भन भरन भरन पनिया गम प नि गम म सरे गरि सरि स नि सरे म प म ग म रे गरि सरि स म प म प ग म रे ग म रे सरि स रे रे म म प प रे ग म रे स गई बन घट भन भरन भरन पनिया दीवानी गई बन घट भन भरन भरन पनिया ओ नैनुक तेरी बान से मुरझत हुई रही रड़िया झुम झन नन 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 झन नन 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 बनी रे बनी मैं तेरी जोगनिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया घर मोरे परदेसिया आओ पधारो पिया Thank you.
Thank you for your heartfelt offering. Each year at Diwali at the chapel, Vineet Chandar, our Hindu chaplain, shares wisdom with us and helps us see how the lessons of Diwali and Hinduism in general can be applied to our everyday lives. Vineet has also published a book of reflections on Diwali based on the talks that he has given over the last 10 years at Diwali at the chapel. and we have it here for you. It is a special gift to thank our supporters and contributors, so please help us keep this event going, and please visit the book table before you leave this evening. I'd now like to invite Vineet to offer a reflection on the deeper significance of Diwali and its relevance for us today.
Almost exactly a year ago today, on Diwali Day in November 2020, like almost all of us, I imagine, I found myself observing Diwali at home with only my immediate family. Campus was a veritable ghost town, with students, faculty, and most staff exiled to remote operations, and only a handful of essential workers remaining here. The chapel building was locked shut. My family and I sat in front of a screen and we watched the Hindu Life program's video Diwali offering called Divya Jyoti, along with hundreds of others who tuned in on YouTube. Perhaps some of you tuned in as well. As wonderful as that night was, and as much of a blessing it was to have that intimate time with family, it was also obvious that something was missing. And so that night I started to draft the first version of this talk, at least mentally. Diwali at the Chapel 2021 was going to be all about returning to normal. That's what I anticipated. I imagined I would speak about the surreal nature of a year spent on a series of Zoom calls, and maybe even joke about how aggressive hand sanitizing suddenly became a new religious ritual. Maybe we would look back at all those odd things that we had to do back in 2020 with a sense of humor, not exactly laughing, but grateful for it to be behind us and to be just a weird story of a weird year that we could tell future generations about. Of course, I was naive and premature. There is no return to normal, at least not yet. The pandemic is sadly not behind us. Of course, things are better in so many respects. And I want to name that I am grateful, I am so grateful for this vaccine and for the brilliant minds and hard-working professionals who helped to create it and dispense it. And it is part of my theology to be grateful for God, who I know most dearly as the flute-playing Lord of Love, Sri Krishna Bhagavan, who I believe is the one divinely empowering those brilliant and hardworking people, and who is manifesting himself in this life-saving intervention. But my gratitude notwithstanding, we're not out of the woods yet. The destructive presence of COVID is still with us. The danger of variants and breakthrough cases hovers over us. It lurks around corners. It haunts us. And perhaps the ideological division and misinformation prevents us from making the kinds of strides that we could be making. Those of us with loved ones in India especially felt and continue to feel the devastation of COVID and the Delta variant. This year, 2021, like 2020, it turns out, is another surreal Diwali with masks and other reminders that we still struggle against an invisible but deadly adversary. So this year I'm reflecting on the story of Sita and Ram's return to their kingdom that we heard a little bit about already. And I'm thinking about how the citizens of Ayodhya welcomed them back. For the Ayodhya Vasis too struggled with a surreal period of disruption, 14 years of disruption, of separation from their beloved Lord. They too struggled with distance and isolation. I imagine they would hear stories of the demons like Ravana, invisible but deadly adversaries. These Ayodhya Vasis perhaps felt hopelessness. And finally, just when they thought that Sita and Ram were returning and things could go back to normal, a new obstacle presented itself. It was Amavasya, a moonless night, the darkest night of the lunar cycle. But these citizens of Ayodhya didn't curse the darkness. They didn't give in to the temptation of hopelessness. They banded together and they lit oil lamps and candles like the ones that we were lighting today. They joined these lamps and candles together and they responded to the darkness with illumination. Diwali celebrates Shri Shri Sita Ram, but it also celebrates the dedication and love of a community of ordinary citizens. From Diwali 2020 to 2021, we at Princeton too have persevered. I have witnessed in this most challenging time students and faculty and staff and community members come together to do whatever they can to care for one another, to make this campus safe and healthy. I've seen folks make sacrifices and demonstrate resilience and self-discipline. I've seen us rise to the occasion and try to be our best selves. And I see that here tonight. So this isn't a back to normal year just yet, but there is much to be grateful for and hopeful about. So my invitation to you is this. As you sit in this amazing sacred space of the chapel tonight, or watch online, at some point, take a moment to reflect, to meditate, to pray, whatever feels right to you. But take that moment to lean into the spirit of gratitude and of hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vineet, for those inspiring words. I'm now delighted to welcome on stage my co-president, Shrija Pacha. Shrija is a member of the class of 23 from northern New Jersey and will be performing a Bharatanatyam piece for us. This piece is a Tillana in Rag Hindolam and Tal Kanthayakam. A Tillana is a rhythmic and lively piece that comprises nritya, pure dance, offered to a specific deity. This Tillana is dedicated to Kamakshi Amma of Kanchipuram. Let's show our appreciation for Shrija Pacha.
ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೀಂ ತಾನನನನ ಧೃಧೃತಾನಿ ತಾನಿ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತುಂ ಧೃತಾನಿ ತುಂ ತನನ ತರ ಧೀಂ तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं दीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं धीं तदरतानि दीत्रां किडदग तरिकिडतुं दीत्रां किडदग तरिकिडतुं दीत्रां किडदग तरिकिडतुं धीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं समा मद मद ग म नि स ग स नि स ग स नि स सा नि ग म मद म ग स न धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनं 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 दीं तकिटताग दीं दीं तकिटताग म ग स नि ध म स नि स ग म म म ग मद म ग स म म नि ध म द नि द स नि ग स म ग स नि द नि दीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं तक्क दीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं तक्क दिक्कुदीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं दीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तद नीदु महिमलनु ने पोगडि पोगडि निन्ने सदा भजन जेसि मयि मरचितीनि नीदु महिमलनु ने पोगडि पोगडि निन्ने सदा भजन जेसि मयि मरचितीनि श्रीकाञ्ची पुरिवेलयुगामाक्षि कटाक्षिंचि करुणजूड वम्म वम्म श्रीकाञ्ची पुरिवेलयुगामाक्षि कटाक्षिंचि करुणजूड वम्म वम्म ताकुजेकु तकिटगम तनि स गद गजं गजं तणं नि स सानि द म द म ग स न धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनं 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 दीं तकिटताग दीं दीं तकिटताग म ग स नि द म स नि स ग म म म द म द म ग स म म नि द म द नि द स नि ग स म ग स नि द नि दीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं तक्क दीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं तक्क दिक्कुदीत्रां किडदग धरिकिडतुं दीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं तानननना धृधृतानि तनि तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तुं धृतानि तुं तनन तरधीं sa na 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 dru dru da ni ta ni tum dru ta ni tum tum sa dru ta ni tum tum dru ta ni tum ta na na ta ra dhin dhin ta na na ta ra dhin dhin ta na na ta ra dhin.
Thank you for that lovely offering, Shrija. I'd like to now invite Tejas Gupta, class of 24, to offer us a reflection on what Diwali means to him.
Diwali has been my favorite time of year for as long as I can remember. But as I grew up and began to understand more about this joyous but multifaceted occasion, from all the stories to traditions to celebrations, I wanted to know precisely what made it so special to me. In 7-year-old Tejas' head, Diwali was just warm halwa on a cold and dark night. It was the day that my parents weren't allowed to scold me for playing with matches. It was my hands covered in haldi after making rangoli. While my classmates had pumpkin carving and pie making, I had patako and naan katai. 2 years ago, however, I spent Diwali away from my home for the first time, away from my mom, dad, and Didi. That separation made me realize that those childhood luxuries were not what I cherished most about Diwali, not even as a kid. No, it wasn't the many dance performances I was forced to at the town Diwali party either. It was a chance to see all the family and friends, all the uncles and aunties and their kids that my parents had accumulated after moving from India. Diwali, I realize now, is a time to focus and appreciate God and family. And not just the family I have at home, but the kids I made rangoli with, the tipsy uncles I won money off of in Teen Pati, and all the aunties that overfilled my plate at Diwali dinner. Now at Princeton during Diwali, I feel the absence of that family the most. But like my parents did, it is time to make my own Diwali family, from my roommates to my mentors and friends, to my teachers, to the classmates I have at PHS. And spending Diwali here at the chapel reminds me of the new friends that I hope to add throughout my next 3 years. Thank you so much, and have a happy Diwali.
Thank you for that reflection, Tejas. I am now pleased to invite Naacho to the stage. Naacho is Princeton University's premier South Asian dance group. Today, Naacho will be performing a piece drawing from Ghar More Pardesiya, which we heard Shruti singing earlier. A blend of classical and devotional dance styles, this performance features 3 dancers from the Naacho South Asian Dance Company and reflects South Asian culture through its religious significance and traditional rhythms. The performers are Maithili Shigne, class of 23, Suhani Balachandran, class of 25, and graduate student Priyanka Saha. Let's welcome them up here.
रघुकुल रीत सदा चली आई, प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाए।
Thank you so much, Naacho. We are grateful to have you with us tonight. We will now ask Mira Kocher to share, a first-year student, her reflection with us.
Like many of us, this was my first Diwali away from home as a college freshman. But like always, I still dressed in a kurta from my mom's closet, put on my bindi just as I've seen my mom do for years, and sang in the arti I've gradually learned from watching my mom and many others. Thanks to PHS, Diwali felt special like always, and I realized that no matter where I go, Diwali will always be special because, as cheesy as it sounds, home is where the heart is. And just like we light up our homes with diyas, Diwali lights up my heart. Truly, as Radhanath Swami says, Diwali is a festival of the heart. As I light each diya, I feel myself lighting the lamps of love, gratitude, and joy within me to welcome God back into my heart, just like the people of Ayodhya welcomed Lord Ram back home and lit up the city. During my first year at college, I've learned the need to light up my heart to get out of the times of crisis that could have otherwise dumped me into darkness, especially when I'm cynical about school, when I'm far too often running against the dreaded 11:59 p.m. deadline. For me, Diwali isn't just about reigniting the light of hope, love, and perseverance within me. It's about sharing that light with others, just like when we light our fuljari, our sparklers, off of the fire of somebody else's sparkler, who then shares their fire with someone else, after which we all can happily take our Instagram-worthy sparkler photos. Or, just like when at the end of Aarti, we all take our blessings from the bright flame on the Aarti platter somebody graciously takes around the room to each and every one of us. And although some days the Ravana or the Divin within me wins, the inner light never extinguishes. Because for me, Diwali isn't just once a year. This reigniting, strengthening, and sharing of our inner flame occurs daily. Happy Diwali.
Thank you, Mira. We would now like to invite Princeton Swara to the stage. Princeton Swara is a student group dedicated to promoting Indian classical music and its cultural roots. Through performances, panel discussions, and guest concerts from leading professional musicians, tonight Princeton Swara will be performing 2 Hindustani pieces and 3 Carnatic pieces. The Hindustani pieces, entitled Tumaka Chalata Ramachandra, in Rag Mishra Khamaj and Tal Dadra, and Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama in Rag Ghara and Tal Bhajani are performed by Sajeevan Naikar, class of 2022, and Abhi Vellore, class of 2025, accompanied by Sharva Dave, class of 2025, on tabla. The Carnatic pieces are Vinayaka Ninu in Ragam Hamsadwani and Aditalam, Taye Yashoda in Ragam Todi and Aditalam, and Rangapura Vihara in Ragam Brindavana Saranga and Rupakatalam. These pieces are performed by Hari Ramakrishnan, class of 2022, Shruti Venkat, class of 2023, Samyukta Niraj, class of 2025, and Venkat Manepalli, class of 2024, accompanied by Abhinaya Raghunathan, class of 2022, on violin, and Ashwin Paretam, class of 2025, on mridangam. Let's give PU Swara a very warm welcome.
This first piece talks about baby Rama as he's walking through the halls of Ayodhya, swaying back and forth and trying to catch his steppings. Like Shrija mentioned, this piece is in Rag Misra Khamaz and Tal Dadra.
चलत रामचंद्र तुमक चलत रामचंद्र तुमक चलत रामचंद्र अजत पैजनिया तुमक चलत रामचंद्र तुमक चलत राम 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 Kilaki, utatataya, kilaki, utatataya, kilaki, utatataya, girata bhumi latapataya, girata bhumi latapataya, daya mat godalet, daya mat godalet, daya mat गोदलेत दशरथ की रनिया तुमक चलत रामचंद्र तुमक चलत राम 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 आचल रज अंग जारी आचल रज अंग जारी आचल रज अंग जारी विविध भांति सो दुलारी विविध भांति सो दुलारी तन मन धन वारी वारी तन मन धन वारी वारी तन मन धन वारी वारी कहत मृदु भजनिया तुमक चलत रामचंद्र तुमक चलत राम राम राम
तुलसीदास अति आनंद अति आनंद अति आनंद तुलसीदास अति आनंद देख के मुखार विंद देख के मुखार विंद रघुवर छवि के समान 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 रघुवर छवि बनिया ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र बाजत पैजनिया ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र ठुमक चलत राम राम राम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे तू सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे तू सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। राम रहीम करीमा समान हम सब हैं उनकी संतान राम रहीम करीमा समान हम सब हैं उनकी संतान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। सब मिल मांगे आवरदान सदा रहे मानव का ज्ञान सब मिल मांगे वरदान सदा रहे मानव का ज्ञान सदा रहे मानव का ज्ञान सदा रहे मानव का ज्ञान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे तू सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे तू सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम
This second piece was about how, despite our faiths, all of our gods can be seen through the same light. And it talked about how we're seeing that through Rama today. Now, I'd like to invite the Carnatic half of Swara to come and present their pieces.
వినాయక నిన్ను వినా బ్రోచుటకు 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 దేవరుడా దేవరాజా వినాయక నిన్ను వినా బ్రోచుటకు దేవరుడా విఘ్నరాజా అనాథ రక్షక అనాథ రక్షక అనాథ రక్షక అనాథ రక్షక నీవే గాదా అనాథ రక్షక నీవే గాదా ఆదర్యోపనలు బ్రోవరాదా ఆదర్యోపనలు బ్రోవరాదా వినాయక నిన్ను వినా బ్రోచుటకు దేవరుడా విఘ్నరాజా వినాయక कृपा सागर परम कृपा सागर परम कृपा सागर परम कृपा सागर वर सुगुणा पालित जन गो पालित जन गोपाल दासनु विनायक निनो विना प्रोचुद तेरे वरुणा दीन राजा विनायक यशोदा उन्दनाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே यशोदा उन्दनाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே यशोदा उन्ननाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே यशोदा उन्ननाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே यशोदा उन्ननाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே यशोदा उन्ननाय कुलदुरित मायन् गोपाल कृष्णन् செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளாயே உந்தன் பயண போலாதே இந்த பயகத்தில் ஒரு பிள்ளை அம்மா மன கண்டதில்லை தயல கேளாதி உந்தன் பயண போலாதே இந்த பயகத்தில் ஒரு பிள்ளை அம்மா மன கண்டதில்லை தயல கேளாதி உந்தன் பயன் போலவே இந்த வையகத்தில் ஒரு பிள்ளை அம்மா மன கண்டதில்லை தயல கிளகி உந்தன் பயன போலவே இந்த வையகத்தில் ஒரு பிள்ளை அம்மா மன கண்டதில்லை தாயே யசோதா உந்தன் நாயர் குல துரித மாயன் கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் செய்யும் ஜாலத்தை கேளடி காலினு சிலம்பு கொஞ்ச காலினு சிலம்பு கொஞ்ச கைவலி குலுகமுத காலினு சிலம்பு கொஞ்ச கைவலி குலுகமுத மாலைகள செயர் திரவாசலில் வந்தார் காலினு சிலம்பு கொஞ்ச கைவலி குலுகமுத மாலைகள செயர் திரவாசலில் வந்தார் பனோர்கள் எல்லாம் மகிழ பனிதரெல்லாம் புகழ நிலவண்ண கண்ணனி வண்ண தரமாடினான் வானோர்கள் எல்லாம் மகிழ பனிதரெல்லாம் புகழ நிலவண்ண கண்ணனி வண்ண தரமாடினான் பாலன் என்று தாவி அடித்தேன் பாலன் என்று தாவி அடித்தேன் அனைத்த என்னை பாலன் என்று தாவி அடித்தேன் அனைத்த என்னை மாலையிட்டவன் போல் வாயில் மூத்தமிட்டான் பாலன் என்று தாவி அடித்தேன் அனைத்த என்னை மாலையிட்டவன் போல் வாயில் மூத்தமிட்டான் பாலனல்லடி உன் மகள் ஜாலம் மிக செய்யும் கிருஷ்ணன் நல பெகள் கேட்க சொல்ல நலமிகளாகுறடி பாலனல்லடி உன் மகள் ஜாலம் மிக செய்யும் கிருஷ்ணன் நல பெகள் கேட்க சொல்ல நலமிகளாகுறடி தாயே யசோதா உந்தன் நாயர் குல துரித மாயன் கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் செய்யும் ஜாலத்தை கேளடி தாயே
Thank you, everyone. We're so excited to be here to present for you all. We started this Carnatic section with a Vinayaka Kirti, a song on Lord Ganesha, who in the Hindu tradition is the remover of obstacles and often begins concerts and rituals. We then went on to a piece in Ragam Todi, Taya Yashoda, which you just heard. This song describes the citizens of Vrindavana describing the antics of little Krishna to Mother Yashoda as a tribute to the celebration of Diwali as a festival for Lord Krishna. We'll now end our section with a piece in Vrindavana Saranga composed by Muthuswami Dikshita. It's dedicated to Lord Rama and his family deity, Sri Ranganatha Swami. And Swami Kala will start us off with that.
ah
जय कोदंड रामावतार रघुवीर श्रीरंग पुर विहार जय कोदंड रामावतार रघुवीर श्रीरंग पुर विहार जय कोदंड रामावतार रघुवीर श्रीरंग पुर विहार कोदंड रामावतार रघुवीर श्रीरंग पुर विहार पंकज जनक देवांगज जनक देवांगज जनक देवा वृंदावन सारंगेन्द्र वरदर मांत रंग वृंदावन सारंगेन्द्र वरदर मांत रंग श्यामलांग विहंग तुरंग सदया पाग सत्संग रंग पुर विहार श्यामलांग विहंग तुरंग सदया पाग सत्संग रंग पुर विहार जय कोदंड रामावतार रघुवीर श्रीरंग पुर विहार पंकजात फूल जलनी विसोमा पंकजात फूल जलनी विसोमा वर पंकज पट्टाभिरामा पद पंकज जीत काम रघुरामा पद पंकज जीत काम रघुरामा वामांक गत सीता वदवेश शेषांक शयन भक्त संतोष नयन मृदुदर भाषा अकलंकन कपोल विशेष मुनि संकट हरण गोविंद वेंकटरमण मुकुंद संकट हरण गोविंद वेंकटरमण मुकुंद ಸಂಕರ್ಷಣ ಮೂಲಕಂದ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರು ಗುಹಾನಂದ ಸಂಕರ್ಷಣ ಮೂಲಕಂದ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರು ಗುಹಾನಂದ ರಂಗಪುರ ವಿಹಾರ ಜಯ ಕೋದಂಡ ರಾಮಾವತಾರ ರಘುವೀರ ಶ್ರೀರಂಗ ಪುರ
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swara, for being here with us today and for your incredibly moving performances. At this time, it is my honor to call on Vineet to lead us in performing the Aarti ceremony. We invite our student presenters and volunteers to the stage to lead us in singing the beautiful prayers, Om Jai Jagadisha Hare, and we ask that everyone sing along with us. Words can be found on your programs. If you are able to, we request that you stand at this time.
You may be seated. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful celebration of Diwali with us. We recognize that having to adhere to protocols like registration and vaccine attestations, wearing masks indoors, and restricting attendance to only adults presents us with challenges and inconveniences. I want to express my deep gratitude to everyone here for working together to adhere to these policies and keep ourselves and one another safe and healthy. I'd also like to thank all of our special guests, including many of the most respected and loved members of Princeton University's faculty, administration, and staff. Your support and encouragement means so much to us. My gratitude to all of the student volunteers who helped to make this evening so wonderful, to our PHS co-presidents for their excellent leadership and unwavering enthusiasm, and for this remarkable, extraordinary group of students that I have the pleasure and honor of working with. Please give them a very big round of applause. If, like me, you are grateful for this opportunity to celebrate the magic of Diwali in this sacred space, and if you feel inspired to support the work of the Hindu Life program on campus, please do consider making a contribution tonight. Information and donation boxes can be found at the tables. Thank you all so much for being a part of this very special evening. It is wonderful to be together again. Wishing you a Shubh Diwali and a good night.